that works out? It's so funny how Shakar Krishnan, he complains about Adams couldn't find the parks, and he supports the fake park. Mm-hmm. He digs 34th Avenue. Yeah, the 28 blocks.
Yeah, 28 now.
28 blocks. And he just spent another another 5 figures to paint those stupid rocks. Mm-hmm. What a disgrace. Slam it. There you go. This, it's because of these open streets. That's why we have this moped problem. You know that, right? I actually brought this to Transportation Alternatives attention and DOT back in 2022. I brought this to their attention. You're complicit with all the mopeds and the e-bikes that are running rampant over here. How can you be promoting open streets? That's irresponsible. Nothing, huh? Nothing? Very disappointed in you, Miss Sif. Very disappointed in you. They're complicit. They're complicit with this. It's because of the open streets.
Yeah.
You're not talking to him. I'm talking about her. I'm talking to her.
Yeah, she's...
I don't know who this is. I don't care who this is.
Oh, that's good. I don't care who you are, either. You can just keep up your shtick.
Wow.
Wow. Do you live in Jackson Heights?
What does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
The streets of my backyard, the streets of my workplace.
That's right.
I ride a bike. I work with a bike. That's how I know this.
That's good. That's good. That's good shit. Good shtick.
Are you high?
Are you on open streets, but come on, man.
You don't think the open streets is probably responsible for the moped mayhem? I mean, that's why this town all exists.
Oh, you just said mohed. Are you high?
I said moped.
No, you said mohed.
I think you said moped.
No, you said mohed.
I heard the mayhem.
That's it.
Yeah, look at this. We got freaking frack here. The bullions. They brought their bullies here. Look at this nonsense. You can record me. I don't care. You can record me. Look at this. They're nuts. You can record me. You can record me. Larry. Yeah, hi Larry. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Well, it looks like he's making a TikTok video.
Yeah.
He's probably making some AI shit.
What's up, man? What's up, bro? What's up? You put open streets? You put open streets, right?
Yeah, of course he is.
You put open streets. They
know.
What's your name? My name is Christopher Leon Johnson at CHRISLEJOHNYC.
Yeah, this is corruption.
JOHNSON CHRISTOPHLEON. Look it up. That's what it is, man.
This is corruption here. This is corruption. This is corruption. This is bullying.
Whatever, bro. Like, how about you?
This is bullying.
What's your name, brilliant?
This is bullying. You're bullying me, man. This is pathetic. Yeah, you are.
Your name is Jonas? Is that what you said?
Miss, remember I saw you at the Open Streets 2022, remember? You had that big sign up, yeah, remember that? Yeah.
I do a lot of them, so I can't remember
that was like a lobbyist block party. That's what's cool about it.
And your name is?
Joe, but aren't you upset about all the mopeds and the e-bikes?
What's your last name, Joe?
Don't worry about that. You all seem to be in a good mood. Hold that. So does it upset you about all the speeding e-bikes and motorcycles that have sabotaged your open streets?
You see, tonight I'm speaking, so
But will it be
tonight, and I don't want to give anything away because
Yeah, but
I don't want to give it away.
But is it about open streets or the moped crisis?
You'll hear my story.
Okay, sure, but do you find them? Are you upset at all about the mopeds and the e-bikes speeding on the streets every day? I mean, they're speeding on your open streets with impunity.
Tonight, you're going to hear my speech, and you'll get it all.
Okay.
You'll get it all.
And also,
I don't know.
I miss.
Weird. But you know what excites me?
How do you associate with a mental patient like this? Dude, what's your problem, man? You got mental health issues. You're like an emotionally disturbed person. Look at that weird smile. What a weird smile, man. And he can't stop filming us. He can't stop filming. Let him go. He can't stop filming.
Yeah. Everyone, have a seat, please. We're going to get started. It is so nice to see everyone here. Good evening. My name is Krishnan. I am the council member for our district here in Jackson Heights and Elmhurst, Queens, and I'm so grateful to all of you for coming out today on a very important issue. I want to also thank the co-sponsors of our town hall who are here too, our Assembly member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. Assembly member Catalina Cruz, who should be coming in some. And our official co-sponsors are Borough President Donovan Richard. Our Assembly member Steve Braga. And as well as Transportation Chair, the council won't be with us today, but with us in spirit, Council Member Salvina Brooks-Powell. I'd ask you all, we have a lot to get through today, so I'd ask you all to please be respectful of our speakers, make sure everyone can hear, and we want to have a good discussion tonight too, but it requires all of us to participate in a respectful and courteous way. There can be disagreement, no doubt, but we want to make sure we are voicing our opinions in an orderly, organized, and respectful way, so we can actually focus on the issue we want to discuss tonight. With that being said, I want to first thank you all for coming. This is clearly an issue of extreme importance in our neighborhood and across New York City. It was my intention in organizing tonight's town hall with my elected partners to do it somewhat how we do it at my council and other council colleagues' committee hearings at City Hall, where, especially for a town hall in our community, where we would have, before any kinds of presentations from the Department of Transportation, just like at my City Hall hearings too, with my colleagues' council hearings as well, we would have a couple members of the public testify and give their perspective on the issue to make sure that the commissioner and his agency staff hear the issues and the concerns that we as a community face. Not only is that how I think we should be in government and the standard we should hold ourselves to, but especially at a town hall in our neighborhood when a commissioner and his agency are invited to join us in the neighborhood to hear not from me, but from each and every one of you. It was my intention to set up that kind of environment for a good discussion tonight that is fundamentally centered around hearing your perspective. DOT Commissioner Yanis Rodriguez, at the last Transportation Committee hearing I was at just a couple months ago, confirmed to me in his testimony when I asked him directly if he would join me at a town hall in my community. He confirmed he would be there. We planned the date of this town hall around the commissioner's schedule. As of this morning, Commissioner Rodriguez was confirmed to attend. I received a note from his staff just 30 minutes ago that Commissioner Rodriguez will not be coming to our town.
He suck. He suck.
And let's hope the Department of Transportation learns to listen to our communities a bit better than they've been doing.
Fire Yandis.
I'll leave it at that. That, however, will not stop us from continuing with tonight's town hall.
This is such a deal. It's not funny. Oh, come on.
That will not stop us from continuing with tonight's town hall.
Wow, this is so
Yeah.
Because in this community of Jackson Heights,
what a joke.
I know I and our elected colleagues here endeavor to make sure the voices of you all, of our constituents, are heard and that we listen. And that really is a standard that every agency and its leadership should abide by. But we will move forward, and you have my commitment, as we have already done, that the concerns that you all expressed tonight will absolutely be communicated by me, by our colleagues, to Commissioner Rodriguez. And so with that in mind, let's start. Now, you all, I want to situate where we all are right now. We are in a school, one of 6 public schools on our beloved 34th Avenue Open Street, Paseo Park.
That's the agenda.
As we step outside.
Why you pushing over the street for?
I think we know where the community stands on this issue, and that's why it's so successful, the most successful open street in the city.
No.
It has been a place that started during the pandemic, where we, and as a parks chair I know this best, rank least when it comes to green space and public space in all of New York City. It has been a place where we have come together, 26 blocks of joy.
Oh, God.
A place where our children, thousands of children, every morning and every afternoon, walk to and from school.
By
On
transit.
a beautiful day,
By
they
transit.
play, their families, their parents, their seniors join on the open street. It's a
Transit.
place where so many of us have come together.
Transo.
We have come together in times of great need for food distribution,
This is a joke.
community events,
This is not
performances,
heads at all.
or a place simply to catch up with our neighbors. It has become a beloved part of our community.
No.
One that I mentioned before is the most successful open street in the city, where every day, including today, you will see thousands of children walking on it. And at the end of the day, making sure that we have a space for our children, for their future, is most important. It is also a place where we have reduced crashes with pedestrians by 42%.
It should be 100.
Yeah, it's not enough.
That's not good, man.
That's a good number.
40% is not good,
In
bro.
a neighborhood that has some of the highest fatality and crash rates in this city. We care about safe streets in Jackson Heights. I guess I pose it this way. Do we care about safe streets in Jackson Heights?
No. Nope. Nope.
That's how I know that it's a success.
Nope.
Now,
Yeah, where's the?
let's zoom out
Was this a moped town hall?
from 34th Avenue.
This is a moped town hall. Here we go.
Let's zoom out. We
Yeah.
have a great public space in our community, but we are seeing across New York City story after story of speeding mopeds across our streets, our sidewalks, our public spaces, our plazas, crashing into pedestrians,
No.
crashing into children, into seniors, making our streets extremely dangerous.
Co-sponsor
It has been a
606.
crisis all over the city.
No,
That crisis has also made its way here to our communities of Elmhurst and Jackson Heights. We have seen far too many headlines of these tragic crashes.
Well, make that open street.
yeah.
It has also made its way to our open street, where we have had mopeds hit children. We have had mopeds hit seniors multiple times, sometimes on the same stretch as the moped was speeding by.
What?
We have had numerous instances of close calls of mopeds speeding by as children are walking home from school,
I guess they're not so safe.
driving into the children. We have had mopeds flying down spaces that are explicitly designed for pedestrians. And we have heard from so many of you about these issues in email after email, phone call after phone call, raising the very simple question, whether it's our sidewalks or our open street, where are people supposed to walk now?
The sidewalk.
The sidewalk.
The biggest challenge, the biggest problem that we have is poor design by
No,
the
it's not.
Department of Transportation.
You gotta
Yeah, the open
get the
streets.
regulated, bro.
That
Get
is
the regulated.
that is poor design.
DOT wants to build on that poor design to do even more poor design.
Well, like planters and rocks and
Yeah.
barricades.
And let me show you exactly what I mean by poor design.
Yeah,
Because
that-
fundamentally, that is the problem.
No, you're
There
part
are
of it,
so
bro.
many other ways to address this issue,
No. It's,
but the most fundamental
This is
one
theater.
yeah.
is poor design. Let's see what we mean. We have on our open street, on numerous stretches, a bike lane, but now really a speedway for mopeds in the middle of our open
But
street. In the middle.
you're behind
of
us,
the
bro.
street. Not on the side,
Wait,
not in a separate area,
Wait.
but right in the middle.
this I can only see.
And so I ask you, where are people supposed to walk?
Sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Look at the sidewalk.
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 Next picture, go back a second, sorry. Of the open street.
Actually, you
Defeating
do. Do now.
the purpose of pedestrian space
No, you need
and a
cops.
tremendous waste of public resources,
Need cops.
including of our own police department.
We need police.
What we need
Police.
is better and safer design.
It's America.
What we need is design that actually solves this problem, keeps us as pedestrians safe, and addresses this issue.
No, you need to regulate motorcycles and e-bikes.
And to get there, it is important that this agency hear from each and every one of you about your concerns about mopeds here and across our community. Because if we get it right here on a pedestrian space, then we can get it right everywhere else in New York City. Because it is a citywide project. And you know, there are a number of people who've reached out to us across the city leading up to this town hall because they're just as concerned too. Now, for the last year, I have expressed that concern directly to the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. My elected colleagues have expressed that concern to the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. And all of the emails and phone calls we've received, we have sent over to DOT as well. Yet they have done nothing with it.
Because of Transit.
They have not proposed any design change.
Because of Transit.
So I urge you all, with tonight's meeting, to make clear your concerns to them. Make clear of why you all, as you've told us so effectively, feel unsafe walking down our streets and our sidewalks and our open street with mopeds speeding by. And it is my hope that they will listen, even with the Commissioner, that they will listen, take that, and understand the importance of prioritizing good and safe street design. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We appreciate it very much for this important issue. And now I'm going to turn it over to our colleague, Assembly Member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas.
Chico, you just said open streets fail.
My name is Assemblymember Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. I am one of 3 state assembly members that represent 34th Avenue. So my colleague, Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz, she's on her way. We just came from Albany, as well as Assemblymember Steve Braga. So I'm here not just as a legislator. I'm here as a parent. I'm here as someone who does not own a car. I'm here as someone that walks these streets every single day that I'm not up in Albany doing my job. And I'm thankful to Shaker and my other elected colleagues and to you all, because we hear loud and clear the concerns that you have raised regarding mopeds on the open street. Now, another issue that I want to raise is that mopeds, this is an education point, mopeds are actually called officially limited use motorcycles. Limited use motorcycles, which we call mopeds, are required required to be registered and have a license. That's a fact.
That's pathetic.
They are not allowed to be in bike lanes. And I want to make that clear. Bike lanes are for bicycles, and actually e-scooters are allowed to be on bike lanes, but not.
But the problem is, like, you have the Larissa's here.
So I want to share that at the state level, we have been working on a whole suite of legislation that I sponsored. One that got passed this morning, and I'm really thrilled because this will help alleviate some of the challenges we see around mopeds. What this legislation will do is
Dude, this is
require
theater,
at the
man.
point of sale,
This is insulting.
you're selling,
This is an
leasing,
insult.
or renting a moped, the company that is leasing or renting or selling the moped to you must register. The driver must register that moped before walking out the door. I don't own a car, but I know if you go buy a car, they would just won't let you drive off the lot without a license plate or without registration, right? So we're making this required for every single sale, lease, or rental of a moped. So thank you all for your support on that bill. I'm so thrilled it got passed today. We hope the governor signs it quickly because it will go into effect 6 months after it is signed. So there's quite a number of issues that we're working on at the state level. There's a whole suite of bills that we're pushing. We have 5 more days in the legislative session, so we will be fighting hard. But there's 3 ways to address this issue. One is education, and I actually introduced a bill that required, also at the point of sale, rental or lease, that every single driver gets information about the rules of the road in 10 languages. So they understand that it's required, it's incumbent upon them to understand that they are required to follow the traffic safety laws here in New York. So we introduced this bill, we hope to get it over the finish line. But in addition to that, we are pushing to get a whole number of bills to address that. On top of legislation, right, so policy aside, there are 3 ways to address this. Education, enforcement. Education, enforcement, and engineering. And which of these are the most successful in addressing this problem? It's engineering. It's engineering. So this is why we're here. We're here today because we have worked very closely with DOT, and I thank the Commissioner, the Queens Commissioner, for being here. We worked very closely with them over the years on many street design issues. My district also includes Astoria. There's quite a number of issues we're looking at there as well. And we must design the roads to ensure that mopeds are not getting on it, and they're not driving recklessly, and that everyone can be safe. Again, I'm a mom. I walk down the streets. I have a child who just graduated from this school as a shipper. Well, not graduated yet, soon. So we are parents. We get it. We get it. So I want to create the space to listen respectfully, right? We're saying our few words, and I'm looking forward to listening to your comments and ideas and solutions, because I want to get to solutions. You know, I know we see what the issues are, but we want to hear solutions, and we want to make sure that DOT and our other leaders here hear the solution, because together we can get this done. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was 5 minutes of nothing.
Thank you very much, Assembly Member. And before calling up our next speaker and before having our first panel, I also want to flag one more thing too, which is when we talk about better design and design change, we're not talking about 5 years from now. We're talking about now. We're not talking about after another child or a senior or neighbor gets hit.
So
this is a now
design
problem.
crisis. Terrible.
We cannot afford to wait several years or really even longer to actually get a safer street. And so I urge you all to communicate that and think about that as you communicate your concerns. That this is not only a serious problem, but it's an urgent one that requires an immediate design solution. With that in mind, I want to call up on behalf of the Queensborough President, Don Commissioner's Office, Michael Carter, who's going to say a few words. I'd like to call up a few individuals to share their brief statements. So first, I want to call up Luz Maria Mercado to give your testimony.
Testimony. She's the open streets person. Oh my God.
Thank you to our elected officials, Councilmember Shaker Krishnan, Borough President Dr. Richards, Assembly members Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, Rebecca Cruz, Steve Raga, Councilmember Brooks Powers, thank you Commissioner Nicole Garcia, and the DOT for all of your work and for coming to hear our concerns. My name is Luz Maria Mercado. I'm the board chair of Alliance for Paseo Park. I grew up in Jackson Heights, the daughter of a Puerto Rican dad and a Colombian immigrant mom. Growing up, I longed for parks. The green space in our neighborhood was private gardens, courtyards in the center of exclusive co-op apartments. These spaces were unavailable to my family and people like us. Many people in this room know what I'm talking about. As a child, it was a place that I thought it was not meant for me. As an adult, I stayed in Jackson Heights with my husband to raise 2 sons and be near to my mom, who is now 91 years old. I live right near Traverse Park, our neighborhood's only public green space. My apartment balcony looks onto 34th Avenue and IS 145 Middle School. In 2018, I received a frantic then will remember this horrible day. A 12-year-old boy was pinned down under a Jeep. His legs could be seen underneath it. He'd been hit as he was leaving IS 145 at dismissal, and firefighters had to pull the Jeep off him.
This guy's exploiting children.
So powerfully summarizing this issue and speaking from your heart
We promote
in a
one
way
side,
that really captures all of our feelings.
Shake up, why you promote one
So
side?
thank you. Now, I'd like to be heard from a few members of our community. I want to thank our DOT team for coming out today.
Cronies.
And I turn it over to you to say a few words that you all have prepared as well. And I'll call up now our first Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Transportation, Margaret Forgione.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Oh, she's gonna fuck up the
Thank you all.
streets.
So at the outset, let me say that the best thing about being here tonight is understanding there are so many people so deeply committed to this neighborhood, and I believe by and large are in support of this open street.
No.
We do. Some not. It's okay. We're
No.
not.
Stop
Okay.
lying.
Some
Stop, don't
are
lie
and
like
some
that.
aren't.
Do not lie.
But we're here tonight because we do recognize that there is work to do and it's a work in progress. We're committed to making this street as safe as possible. That's DOT's mission first and foremost, for safety of all users of our streets. So first I'd like to introduce some members of the team tonight. We've already mentioned Nicole Garcia, our wonderful new borough commissioner. We have Sean Quinn, our associate deputy commissioner of our Office of Livable Streets.
Livable streets.
Commissioner of Education and Outreach, and we also have a bunch of other DOT members here who are also deeply committed to making sure we serve your communities well. So we have a brief presentation that we would like to make, and what we'd like to do is, first of all, for clarity purpose, review and establish what is legal and what is illegal about the devices and about 34th Avenue. We wanted to explain to you what educational efforts we're doing here and elsewhere in the city to date. Talk about the excellent NYPD enforcement. We have Chief Armani, or Captain Armani. I promoted him with us here tonight. And they have been working closely with us to address issues. We also want to review a little bit about the legislative efforts that have been discussed, some of the safety stats, so we actually know what is happening here. Talk about some of the design improvements to date, and then talk about where are we going. We want to hear your feedback so that can inform changes. And we also want to make sure we engage each and every one of you in our upcoming capital project. The great news is we have tens of millions of dollars to build out 34th Avenue permanently. So
Permanent now!
what we would like to do is continue I'd like to pass it off to Sean Spencer.
Oh, these are the people who made the streets more unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what jurisdiction attorneys are doing.
We're doing citywide.
God. Calling the power broker? Get the hell out of here. How about city for sale?
Sorry, everyone. I think I started this town hall by saying that we would respect the speakers and their points of view and not interrupt and not heckle. I know there are people here, there are a number of community members from Jacksonites, there are people who are not from Jacksonites who are here too, commenting on our open street. And I ask you all to know, one, here in our community, when we have events like these, we're actually respectful to speakers, whether or not we agree or disagree. It's frankly a very mature and adult response to be able to hear someone else, even if you don't agree with them. So I'd ask you all to maintain that degree of decorum and respect for our speakers, even if you agree, even if you don't agree. The point is to have a civil dialogue. Thank you.
So we did just want to make sure we covered the citywide effort around this issue, because we also understand that the growth of e-bikes and the growth of micromobility and mopeds in the city has been something that's happened very quickly and has had a lot of repercussions in everybody's daily life. The city is taking this issue extremely seriously from all levels of government, from City Hall to Department of Transportation to the state to various other agencies. So we're going to start our presentation today quickly going through what we're doing on a citywide effort specifically to deal with it, and then we'll go through what we're doing to deal with it more locally on 34th Avenue. So we did want to just start by giving some stats about what's going on with just the cyclists themselves in the city. Not only are we seeing an increase in cycling overall, bike volumes are up, regular bike volumes are up, e-bike mobility volumes are up, moped volumes are up. And we're seeing a lot of injuries to these new devices. So people who are riding these devices are getting hurt. They're getting hurt because of bad behavior. They're getting hurt because of interactions with vehicles. And as we see this growing, sort of these injuries growing throughout the city, we're realizing that we not only need to address, the street and the safety of just the users of vehicles and pedestrians, we need to also deal with the safety and legality of the users of these devices. We've also seen that a lot of the pedestrians, we did also want to note that we have seen increased interaction between pedestrians and these micromobility devices. Traditionally, we've seen very low numbers of injuries and fatalities between these devices and pedestrians, but over the past year or so, we've seen those numbers slightly increasing. So we want to make sure that we do not continue that increase, that we take measures to ensure that everybody in this room can safely get around their community.
Thank you. So I think my name is Councilman. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Education and Outreach. And I think it's important to say that this is all in a backdrop of Vision Zero City. And you're looking at the professionals who have been, we've been working on Vision Zero since its inception in 2014.
And more people are dying.
This is the way that we look at many things. So on the education piece, you may have seen this, I hope you've seen this around town. This is just an e-bike campaign, really geared towards people who are riding e-bikes as commuters, might be picking up a city bike here and there. This is really talking to people about what they can do to protect themselves and to protect others. And you can see on the back as well, we continually try to work to get people on the right size and legal vehicle. So really trying to get people who need the electric power of two wheels and motorized two wheels onto the right size vehicle. Within many neighborhoods is an electric bike, not a moped or not street legal moped. So this public campaign, you'll see it on the back of buses. You should see it on NYC. You'll see it around, even on subways. We're just trying to kind of help people understand how to operate these vehicles. So my team is out all the time when they're not. Some of them are in schools, and we go to over 600 public schools a year talking about traffic safety and all the aspects of it. But I have a street team that's out in the field working with many different people, mostly drivers, who continue to make the lion's share of who creates injury on our streets, but also talking to delivery workers, talking to people on site, trying to give them the equipment that they deserve, that will keep them protected, but really trying to talk through how to stay legal and how to stay out of spaces where they're creating danger for pedestrians. So we've been to lots of places. We try to go out and really be where the people are, get them to come in, speak to them in the language that they understand, and try to do that. And Sean will talk about my team starting to be out here on 34th Avenue as of last week. Then we do a lot of motorized two-wheel education. We are as frustrated with trying to explain some of these things as you might be. The limited use motorcycles, which we've agreed though it's citywide to all
They're all
mopeds, because that helps everybody understand
All of
the
them are
difference between
motorcycles.
scooters and mopeds. So really talking to delivery workers about how to be safe, and what they should and should not be riding, and trying to unpack for people where things belong, right? So a moped cannot legally ride on the single part. It is a vehicle. So really trying to work through this. It takes a while. So next, I'd like to talk to you about the Mayor's Interagency Task Force. So probably I'm on a call, and then in an in-person meeting at least once a week with this group. It is as many agencies as we can possibly put together to talk about all of the various issues, everything from, as you know, FDNY has had to be very involved, trying to deal with the battery fires that can come from the lithium-ion batteries, particularly illegal and not street legal mopeds. We are dealing with enforcement and how we're going to be working together to do that, really trying to understand where people are violating laws and how we can address those things. We have the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, which is helping us at point of sale. This is something that you're speaking about, right? Trying to figure out how to confiscate those things before they get into the hands of a delivery worker who may have been told that the device was legal when it wasn't, or that they were allowed to ride it when they're not, and not getting any of the information that they need. Of course, as the street designs change, where that's happening as well, and we're also just trying to create some recognizable images and language so that we can all speak the same language and try to figure out what the solution, what the problem is, so that we can address a solution. That's how Vision Zero works. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some citywide enforcement efforts you might not be familiar with. So there has been a very large ghost-vehicle operation that's been going on. Actually, my colleagues from the Chief of Transportation couldn't be here today because they're actually out doing something with the DMV and the state, trying to figure out how to have any device that is not registered, that is not legally designated, that doesn't have a license plate when it should, how to remove those vehicles from the street. And these are the numbers since they started this operation. You might not be familiar that this is happening, but they're stopping any vehicle, moped, motorcycle, anything that does not have the proper identification. And in the midst of all of these, they're making arrests, they're seizing vehicles, and they're writing an extraordinary amount of summonses to the tune of almost 7,000 of those. They're also out on the East River bridges, trying to stop mopeds from using the bike lanes that have been designed to keep bicyclists safe. And so they are out there at the East River bridges making seizures and writing summonses. And then, of course, at the point of sale. So going to places, we're working very hard with legislation, so glad to hear that. That's going to be at the governor's desk. Again, and I've been doing this work with motorcyclists as well. We don't want anyone to be able to purchase a vehicle that isn't licensed to drive it, regardless of what that vehicle is. So that we're really requiring people who sell these things to get involved. Safe batteries are a huge issue for us. We're trying to get involved in that on all different levels. What kind of batteries can be stored, can be purchased, can be used. We have an equipment trade-in programs that we are working on. The Department of Transportation has actually been tasked with doing that first thing. It will be my team that will be delivering that. And also, and always working with the app companies, or trying to work with the app companies to see if we can have them take responsibility for,
Are you
for
kidding
not
me?
just the education and the equipment,
You're
because
kidding.
people need to be safe on both ends,
You
but
got
also
the
to
guts
try to
face
help
them.
Yannis be in
take
jail before that.
responsibility for some of the.
Yannis be in jail.
I'm so sorry. It's very hard for me to speak when you're speaking over me.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to speak when you're speaking over me. Thank you. And to really, and I think the reason why I want some attention here is because we really need to think about this. New Yorkers, we got a lot of good stuff done together when they think together. We have to think about how we're going to hold app companies accountable for their role in all of this. So, with that in mind, I'm going to turn this over to Sean. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, I do want to make sure we. Wanted to make sure we're speaking to the design piece as well. Across the city, we're looking at ways to accommodate micromobility as it's growing.
This is not 34th Avenue.
Legal micromobility, of course. We know people need to get around on these devices. They're making deliveries. It's something that we all sort of depend on in our daily life. A lot of these delivery services. So we're making sure our street designs match the new makeup of our bike facilities. So we've implemented several projects over the past 2 years.
This is them
that have looked to
sign the streets for the app companies that they're afraid of.
Add multiple lanes, passing zones.
They're afraid of the app companies.
Faster vehicles can go around.
They're because they're regulatory captured by the app companies.
Bike boulevards and projects like 34th Avenue, which are designed to help slow down bikes as they move through a neighborhood. We look at not just the lane itself, but improving curbside policies to make sure the bike lanes aren't blocked. People can make deliveries, adding different types of bike parking along these facilities, bike corrals, micromobility hubs for people to do their unloading and loading. We've created a couple layover spaces too at really big hotspots where deliveries are occurring. And we are also, I think, something that the council member said on the radio this morning, looking at ways that we can develop dedicated lanes for micromobility. We're early in the stages of that development, but it's something that we are taking seriously and trying to figure out where that will work in the city, what that design looks like, and how to roll it out and where to start rolling it out. Those are just some images of what we've been doing. But the best way to sort of understand what's going on the streets is to really take the data collection. We started putting up sensors around the city so we can watch and monitor the use of the micromobility, the pedestrians, how they're all interacting on a street, where the safety points are most critical, and how that then can
surveillance tech. Holy shit.
Influence design standards. So without being out there every day,
Mr. Tax dollars, New Yorkers.
We can put these sensors up and then really understand where there's conflict points, where the cyclists want to be, where the pedestrians want to be, and make sure that our designs match the use and match the safe use of those streets. So we've seen, just looking at some of these sensors, that mopeds over the past 2 years have been moving out of the bike facilities and into the travel lanes. We've seen a decrease of mopeds in dedicated bike facilities. So a lot of the education, a lot of the work that we're doing and talking to these riders is helping to shift them into spaces that are made for more high-speed vehicles, not bike lanes, not protected.
That's what the driving lanes are for.
So just looking locally, and I'll try to do this quick because I know we want to hear from everybody here. Go to the next slide. Just, I think, going off of what the council member said earlier too, we have seen improvements to safety along the corridor. We would like to see it be 100%. We'd like to see the injuries down to zero. That's our goal citywide, of course. We've made a lot of impact with the street design that we've implemented over the past couple of years.
Yeah, that's why it's a crisis.
We're also, besides just looking at safety data, we have a sensor and we have several cameras out on 34th Avenue looking at the use so that can inform design tweaks that we can make now.
This is where the $85 million is going.
We're seeing just an interesting moped pattern that we've seen is that most of the mopeds are coming in a PM peak at night after 9 p.m. These are folks that are returning from work in Midtown Manhattan and going back to their homes in your neighborhood and beyond. Not to say they're not riding along the corridor in the morning and during the day, but it does speak to the fact that a lot of the moped users on the corridor are working people from this neighborhood, Corona, and beyond that are traveling between.
So this is a design crisis town hall, not a moped town hall.
So it's people that are traveling
It's a design
between
crisis town
Corona,
hall.
et cetera, and your neighborhood to get to their jobs, to do their work in other parts of
Surveillance
the city,
technology.
and Manhattan. We see pedestrian volumes peak, of course, around school time, and in both in the morning and the evening. Over the past several weeks, and actually throughout the entire life of the Open Street, we've been doing a lot of education and outreach. We've been distributing flyers to everybody on the corridor to explain how the corridor works, what this is, what you're seeing, what's a plaza, what's a shared street, what's a bike lane, how do pedestrians move through here, how do cyclists move through here. We've handed out hundreds and hundreds of those flyers. We have safety ambassadors through our horticultural society that are out on the street 7 days a week doing outreach specifically to cyclists, making sure that they have the flyers that we have up here, explaining the rules of the road. We've actually heard from several instances of, Kim's team was out there doing specific education in various languages, Spanish, Mandarin, and Bangla, and we've heard from many of those riders that they're grateful that we're there, actually telling them what they're supposed to be doing. That education is really making a breakthrough on the cyclists in the neighborhood, and I encourage anybody to talk to their neighbors and sort of teach them the rules of the road and where they should and should not be doing. We're also going to continue doing the diverse public programming that we do on the corridor, which emphasizes that this is a street for people, this is a street for pedestrians, it's active street, it's a place that a cyclist may encounter a circus or a yoga class or a school dismissal, and that they need to be careful as they're moving through the corridor. Of course, the great Grand Block artwork also helps emphasize that this is a different space. And then we're continuing to collect additional data as we move through
surveillance technology.
Last week, the Local 115, along with the Citywide Traffic Task Force, began a blitz on looking to deal with the mopeds on the corridor. In the last 2 weeks alone, along the corridor, they issued 137 moving violations, which is cyclists, anybody running a red light, not being careful pedestrian, failure to yield, mopeds that are illegally using the plaza spaces. Mopeds cannot be in the plaza spaces, end of story. So that is something that can be enforced about, that's something that can be educated about. They've seized 30 illegal devices alone in just 2 weeks. The devices that were not registered should not have been on the corridor in the first place. And that increased enforcement will continue into the summer. We will be making some design updates quickly. We're going to be adding some additional no moped signs in the plazas, which was originally a request from PD to help them do that
complaining about that.
Enforcement and education. We are going to be adjusting planters and adding some additional markings to reinforce the slowness of the streets through the plazas and shared streets.
Not gonna happen.
And we are going to be adding pedestrian stamps along the corridor next to those bike sharrows that the councilman pulled up earlier to really make call home the fact that that space is for bikes and pedestrians. It's not just for bikes, it's not just for cars, it's for everybody who's using that corridor. So we're being responsive to that request that it's confusing where pedestrians may or may not belong. Additionally, we're going to work to develop some more gateway treatments, turning some of the existing painted space into concrete, hardening those diverters so that cyclists and e-bikes can't move quick. We've seen a lot of cars that disobey those diverters and drive over them. So creating them in more concrete will help really reinforce diversion off the corridor.
Messing up the streets.
And then we are looking to also install another plaza block between 83rd and 84th with a curbside bike lane design, which can help us as we talk about the capital project to see if that design treatment is something that we want to move forward with on other corridors, blocks along the corridor. It also breaks up the corridor too. It adds another plaza block.
Hey, Catalina.
It has another plaza block where mopeds aren't allowed, so it's even less likely that someone can travel from one end to the other legally. And then we're also looking at other corridors in the district to see if there's any places that we can create east-west bike connections. 34th Avenue, for those, a lot of you know, you've grown up here, you've lived here for your entire lives, is one of the original bike lanes in New York City. It used to have diamond markings on it, indicated before we used bike markings on it. It is so old that it's had some of the earliest standards of bike lane. This corridor has been established as a bike through route since the 90s. People coming east-west from the neighborhood, going back and forth. So while we do want to look at other corridors, we also need to acknowledge the importance of that connection that 34th Ave has historically had through the neighborhood. And then finally, my last slide is just pitching the conversations that we want to have further on the future of 34th Avenue. We have the survey that recently launched. We handed out a flyer today that has the survey about what the future project street can look like. And again, the street doesn't have to be built out exactly the way it is today. It can be built out with your input. What we've learned, what do we want to see in the future? So nothing's set in stone, and we need you to show up at these workshops to tell us what that could look like. The first workshop's at June 18th at IS 145. We'll have follow-up workshops in the fall. We're looking for a comprehensive transformative design upgrades along the corridor. Not only dealing with public space, cycling, community space, but we want to look at green infrastructure, trees, all of the things that are important to this neighborhood. We have $88 million, which is a huge amount of money to really get something done. So hopefully we see you at that workshop on June 18th. Thank you.
Idiots. This guy is an idiot. Oh my God, this guy's insane. They're using surveillance technology to fucking see if moped delivery systems are behaving on their illegal motorcycles.
We appreciate the information, the detail here on what the department is doing to address this issue both citywide and our community. You've heard a lot of numbers. I just wanted to put out a few basic questions for you all, because I've heard this data before. You've heard the numbers, you've heard the statistics, and we appreciate all the information too. But with due respect to DOT, how many of you all feel safer now about mopeds walking down 34th Avenue?
No.
Of course not.
How many of you all, we have heard enforcement, education, how many of you all feel safer from mopeds walking down our sidewalks?
No.
No. And I would also ask you, the proposals for more signs, for more stamps on the ground on 34th Avenue Open Street. How many of you all feel that will make the Open Street safer from mopeds?
No.
Then why did they present it?
And that's precisely, that is, sorry everyone, just let's keep calm and no interruption. But that is precisely the issue. And we can talk about education, we can talk about enforcement. They are all pieces of the puzzle, and we've heard updates. But they cannot replace bad design. That is just the reality. And everything we do to design around bad design is not going to work.
Right, get rid of the open
I
streets.
want you all to think about that and keep that in mind.
Seems like
because all these stats and all of these efforts have not and will not solve the problem of bad design.
Actually, it does. Get rid of
And
the open
I want to add
streets.
one more thing too. We've heard about a capital project, but take it from me as a council member who works on capital projects, who funds capital projects. That is a lengthy process that takes years. I ask each of you to remember the Traverse Park renovation, a beautiful park today, but that was a long project in the making. Let me ask you this. How many of you all, by a show of hands, feel that the moped crisis, both on 34th Avenue and across our community, is a problem that needs to be solved now, today?
Should have been solved 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I rest my case there. Thank you all.
Yeah, we got
I will
great
now, before bringing up our next panel of public testimony, we are joined by another great colleague who understands, who is a big advocate, an effective advocate on this issue with us, our Assembly Member, Catalina Cruz.
Yeah.
All I want to say is I'm much more interested in hearing from the community and DOT. My team was here earlier. I got stuck in Old Maid's the second to last week of session, so we just never know how things are going to go. Steve Raga actually says his apologies. He should be here in 15 minutes or so. His team is also here listening, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we're listening to you so that we can push them. No offense, Commissioner, but it's our role. We got to make sure that things are getting done. So I'm just here to listen. I actually bumped into, oh, there, she's still back there. Hopefully you can make it to the testimony. One of our young students who wanted to testify.
A lot of people and families in the neighborhood, and I'm actually hearing this quite frequently, that they're concerned for their children and their children's safety. They love 34th Avenue, but they're starting to be concerned about using 34th Avenue because of all the mopeds. And I just do think that the mopeds really just should not be allowed on 34th Avenue. We need to find some other alternative. I think
crash their mopeds into children. That's the real reality.
He's making this about cars.
And we cannot let that happen. The pedestrians and this community deserve that.
He's making about cars. He's making about cars. Something's not right. A lot of people left. Oh, come on, man. Sure. Oh, she's responsible for the friggin' moped crisis.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, this is such a
Councilmember Shaker, Jessica, Raga, and also the legislators and DOT for being here and hosting this important town hall to discuss the issues of infrastructure. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. My name is Ligia Huerta, as the Executive Director of the Workers' Justice Project, and I have been organizing with Los Periodistas Unidos since 2020, but also with Workers' Justice since 2019. And I have been organizing low-wage workers for more than 15 years. And my organizing experience actually started here in Jackson Heights.
Fake deliveries. Fake deliveries.
Hey, Chris, brother. I let you go for a while with this. Come to my community. You can help me. Disrespectful. People are giving testimony. You can give your testimony.
You know she's responsible for the moped crisis.
Right, bro? She's responsible for this, man. Stop playing around, man. You let all the non-profit. No, bro. You let all the non-profit speak. You let all the non-profit speak. You give the right people the right to speak out there, bro. You let all the non-profit speak. You respect the delivery, bro. He's a fraud, bro. He's a fraud, bro. He's a fraud.
Look how protect. Oh, Sonny Shakar needs cops. He needs cops all of a sudden. That's great conduct. That's great conduct. That's abhorrent conduct, man. That's abhorrent conduct, man. That's a lobbyist. It's a lobbyist, man.
Thank you so much.
She's responsible for this.
So I'm here, I think, to share a little bit of the perspective, and I have some leaders speaking here about how deliveristas feel about this issue.
I'm a deliverista.
There is a lot of concerns and issues that is being shared. And street safety is a priority for everyone, including delivery workers and workers who use different types of e-micromobility devices.
You guys are responsible for the moped crisis.
Is a big concern. Why?
You guys are responsible for the moped crisis.
Since 2020, there's been
Call the cops.
more than 32
I'm not
deaths
Chris. I'm not
of
Chris.
workers who are using e-bikes and mopeds. App delivery work has become one of the most deadliest industries in the city, but also across the country.
You made it deadlier.
5 times more than the construction industry, which happens to be one of the deadliest industries in the country.
Yeah, these guys, construction workers.
And with that having said, street safety, it is one of the biggest priorities and the biggest concerns of workers who ride in the streets of the city of New York and who consider the streets their workplace. And I'm here to not only share our concerns, but also to share what are some of the proposed solutions that we've been supporting and working with legislators.
Time's up. Sit down.
One is, we definitely consider that there needs to be a holistic
not
approach.
fair. This is,
and it's not just about policing, criminalizing, and enforcement.
She's supposed to.
There is an infrastructure issue.
She's filibustering.
And that's recognized. The streets have been designed for cars. right? Not for people, not for working class.
Wow.
And that has been the case. We need to redesign our streets to make sure that people who walk can walk safely. The people who work.
That's enough.
Because of the earlier interruption, we're going to make sure she gets another 5 to 15 seconds. So make sure you come back.
Got it. So what we're proposing here, and I'll try to do it very quickly. We strongly support that enforcement needs to happen at the point of sale. Retail stores are selling mopeds with, in some of these retail stores, by the way, are not even licensed to sell mopeds. And that's
those
one
guys
of the
bought those
issues
mopeds.
Second,
you guys bought them.
Delivery companies.
You bought them.
App delivery companies
you bought those. You bought them.
Delivery workers to deliver your food faster.
You didn't have license plates either. I saw it.
Because they benefit by profiting on that labor. We need to make sure workers have the ability to refuse to be forced to drive faster in order to keep their jobs.
Bullshit.
And be fair.
That's a lie.
And the third is infrastructure. We all said it, I'm not going to repeat it. I think we said it. Mopeds also, a lot of people, and I'm going to finish with this. We agree that mopeds should not be in bike lanes. We agree that mopeds should not be in sidewalks. But the roads are also dangerous for mopeds. Most of the crashes, 50% of the crashes that deliveristas have experienced with mopeds have been because of the crashes and incidents with cars. So the question is, if we don't want them in the car lanes, if we don't like them in the bike lanes, we don't want them in the sidewalks, where do we put them? And that's something we want to discuss with legislators, with the community, to find a fair solution. And we're here to work together because this community, also the people who live, not only deliver your food, but the people who live here also and are your neighbors, happens to be after the
spoke for 4
Thank you.
Wow, what a liar. Yeah, that was terrible. Why don't you tell me to ride real bikes?
Stop being a bully.
Safer street design. I want to call up now.
You can ride a real bike.
Stop being a bully.
Leslie here?
Show some respect.
Okay. Christina Furlong. Followed by Kathy Parent.
Across the city, including going to Albany.
They haven't had one person up yet to speak about the moped crisis or against it on the streets. This was a pro-open streets town hall.
I also sit on the citywide community bike working group.
They wanted to sign the streets for mopeds and e-bikes.
We advocate for safe recycling and infrastructure. I'm shaking because I cannot believe that Shaker, at the same time as receiving $88 million in capital funds in less than 5 years, is denouncing the DOT and not having me Donis here.
Oh my.
I support 34th Avenue open street. I started when 3 kids were killed there, and nobody would listen. We had to do a mile-long march down Northern Boulevard in the freezing cold. I had to call the councilwoman at the time to say there's garbage on all these sidewalks, and we're having all these people come to our march. And years go by, and they're getting everything so easily that when you talk about equity and you use cyclists, delivery guys to say one thing one way and then to say another thing the other way, we want to keep them safe, we want to send them to jail. It's just really, we need to check the privilege and the entitlement in this room right now. Kids were killed in East Elmhurst. There was no paint. There was no crosswalk where the kid was killed. 6 months later, there was no paint in that crosswalk where the kid was killed. When I walked home from putting a sign up there on 34th Avenue, there were 2 different colors of DOT paint trucks striping the intersection where there weren't even any cars to begin with because the advocacy is so good. So I'm not here as an advocate for Paseo Park. Honestly, I didn't even know this was a meeting about Paseo Park. There were probably people in this room who didn't know that either. And we came here because we cared about the danger of mopeds and scooters to both the people on them and the people on the street. So I've never been in a room with such privilege and entitlement. And you guys should all say thank you for what you're getting so easily, because people have to work a lot harder for those things.
Yeah. Right. That's good.
Just to clarify, I said up front, that wasn't by age confirmed, was scheduled around here.
Theater.
You're not acknowledging the women in the room.
So,
You're not
I did
acknowledging
thank
the
you,
high-level
Christina.
women in the
But just
room.
to clarify, it would be great to have the commission here too. Next up, we have Kathy Farron. Well, Kathy Farron for now. I'll let you know who's next. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having this town hall. I think it's one of the first we've had in a long time in this neighborhood. And I think you can tell by the community that we appreciate it. We do come out. Okay, I'm also a member of Jackson Heights. I live on 34th Avenue and 76th Street. For the last 4 years, I've been preaching safety. I don't like 34th Avenue open street, but if it's what the community wants and votes for, then I would say go for it, but with safety. We need safety. I am also a member of the New York Safety Alliance Committee that has gone to Albany, and we have lobbied for some bills for electric vehicles, not just mopeds, all electric vehicles. These vehicles go more than 5 miles an hour. City Bike goes more than 5 miles an hour, especially coming down from the 90s to the 70s. It's dangerous. Anything that has a motor needs to be registered.
Yeah. That's right.
No
there you go.
recourse.
Finally.
You get knocked down, the police will give them a ticket, take away their moped or their bike,
And put them in jail.
and the next day give it back to them. There's a woman who's a cellist in the city.
Yep.
Was with her husband and another player. Got knocked down. She no longer can play the cello.
Yep.
This is a crime, and the person who hit her got no problems. They're out riding a bike today, and this woman is totally disabled. Once again, I'm saying, I can get another second or two since the other lady got it.
Yep.
Once again,
give her a minute.
I am saying safety. And I came here tonight not to discuss Paseo Park, open street, for electric vehicles and safety. So I'm a little annoyed that I had to sit through all that. But I understand.
She-car.
Okay? And $88.8 million could fill a lot of potholes.
Thank you, Kathy. I think everyone 15 time so we can keep for testimony. Next we have Marcella Medina, followed by Zuleika Ria.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcella. Thank you all. I'm here with a story about where I grew up. I will just say this to DOT. I can disagree, but I don't think it's necessarily a design issue. I think it's an enforcement issue, whether you like it or not. You can put up signs, you can put up all these things to slow down. I don't think that's going to stop people from not being properly educated. So the education team, yes, you can go to schools and all of that, but schools and students and teachers are not the ones who are driving these electric vehicles, because I agree, I think this is about all electric vehicles. So engage the restaurants, engage the immigration coalitions. Those are the people to engage, not schools. I mean, that's nice, but I don't think that's what drives the real change. To the elected officials, thank you for all of the legislation. Sorry that this mic is shaking. I love the engagement, but again, I think that this town halls really just offer a place for everyone to vent and tell their stories, and that's very nice and very great, but it doesn't lead to working ideas, right? Like, here's a fun legislation, or some partnership. NYU, the engineering school, they have this lab where they have these sensors, they have a bunch of stuff, they have a bunch of students, engineers. Engage them, that might be some like cheap free labor. I don't know. You have some, what's it called, legislation that you can enact, where you're requesting that, you're requiring that restaurants engage and educate their workers right? You could do very different stuff. So the other thing is, I also thought this was all about like electric vehicles, and it's not. I mean, it's here right next to 34th, but I just want to remind you all that your district is bigger. I live on Broadway, where we have a big issue. We also have to focus on Roosevelt and the rest of the district. So let's make sure we pay attention to that, because we're in need. So let's engage those residents. This is like civic engaged folks. What about the ones that are not, the workers, right? We have a ton of folks that also need engagement. So let's listen to all of that and go.
Because one of the things that they're having to deal with is these dangerous conditions because they have to hustle, right? And hustling all the time is dangerous for them. And so maybe part of this multi-pronged approach that we can take would be that, fixing some of the wage problems.
Which does coincide with, thank you, it does coincide with the Paseo Park. I hate to bring it back to that. I know this is not just about that, and I acknowledge that. I do own a car. I am a cyclist by trade. I have a 19-month-old child that we use the avenue frequently, and I am here for safety as well. As a cyclist, as a pedestrian, all of those, the mopeds are dangerous and scary. And while I appreciate engineering, I want to see that go somewhere, and education, and I'm generally very against enforcement. I am not a fan of enforcement or police in general. However, it seems like it might be one of the only ways to bring down the amount of danger on the street regarding specifically mopeds. So that's again, that's my last E of the 3 E's there, but it's until engineering and education are pushed to their max and we see if it works or not. I don't want to go with enforcement, but if it comes to that, then to keep people safe and out of harm's way, that may be the only other way. All right, and that's it for me.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ed Wesley. I'm a former president of the Jackson Heights Beautification Group. We have redesigned, reimagined Travis Park, all of us in this room, and we did a hell of a job. Now we have to reimagine 34th Avenue. I have suggestions, and I shared them with the Deputy Commissioner. Get the mopeds, if you notice the presentation, are the biggest line causing safety problems. The biggest contributors are bicycles and motorcycles. Move all the motorcycles to the exclusive bus lane that we have created on Northern Boulevard. That's the way to solve, and that's the way to reimagine this particular problem. My other point is about the $88.8 million devoted to 23 streets. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much that would do for our big concern is affordable housing? Please, cut that back. I know it's going to be a long trail, but $88.8 million is just too much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. We're going to try to keep getting through people. I do want to be mindful and respectful of the school's time. And also, I know we have our school staff here as well. Making sure we can I want to make sure that she's not here to play too, because I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning, I know. So I'm going to try to keep it moving, and if you have to leave, we got to leave. Next up, we have Assemblymember Steve Braga, who's been here for a bit. We appreciate you as we call for some public testimony.
Oh, I guess they don't want to hear from the people now. That's some town hall. That's a great town hall.
Thanks so much, guys.
Some guy comes, some elected official comes in late, he gets to speak.
Our community members are here past 9:30. We want to make sure that you're given that space. I just want to say that I have maybe 2 blocks of 34th on my district, right off like 69th towards Woodside. So I'm always happy after this. Let's make sure we touch base and see how we can work together as a community. So it's not just a one-off, one night, but that we can have that conversation moving forward. Happy to work with our colleagues in government here. Also, thanks DOT for coming out. And it's so great also to see all the diverse community that came out, so it's more reflective of kind of our neighbors around here. So thanks so much for coming, especially taking time to speak and be appreciated, and I would love to talk to anybody afterwards.
Thanks so much, Assembly Member. We're going to try to end this, unfortunately, by 9:30, because I want to be respectful of the school's time, too. So let's pick and move through it. Next up is Lori Schuhat.
A couple of months ago, I was walking down 89th Street, heading to the open street. I really love seeing the community and people of all ages, even though I will probably never meet them in person. I like being surrounded by them. And I witnessed at the intersection a moped speed through a light, knock a cyclist off his bike, and then tear off and leave him lying in the street. It was at the intersection. It's not even an open street issue. It's a going through the light issue. And luckily there were people who came to his aid. I did eventually see that he got back on his bike. And, you know, it's just kind of a miracle that I only have that one tale to tell, because I'm constantly feeling that vehicles, you know, coming up behind me are going to do something like this. My nightmare is that a child is going to drop a ball and unwittingly run to catch it, and something's going to come speeding by and hurt him. So I'm just wondering if in the funds, are there funds to put some more cameras on these lights so that if the vehicles have the license, they can be, and you did mention this in your, you know, that there are more violations now for running lights. I think that's just a major problem. It's not even an open street sector problem. And I welcome the idea of design and education and enforcement. But I feel that if people do as they please, you know, none of that matters. They have to be caught. And so I echoed 2 speakers ago who said, I'm not really pro-enforcement, but maybe that's what we have to fall back on.
Thank you so much. Now we have Antonio Solis, followed by Andrew Ronan.
Oh my God, again? Again? They're responsible for the moped crisis. No. Take up the mask.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Antonio Solís. Soy líder de los Libreristas Unidos y miembro del proyecto de justicia laboral. Y gracias por invitarnos a los concejales a este evento. Ok, la crisis verdadera es la falta de infraestructura, ya que las calles en aquí están designadas solamente para autos y no para nosotros los trabajadores y menos para nuestras familias. La otra es una crisis laboral, ya que es más probable que muera un deliberista o se accidente en nuestras calles y sin protecciones. Las aplicaciones cada día crean nuevas políticas para hacer que el deliberista se vea más presionado a correr más rápido para hacer que su comida llegue a tiempo y evitar penalizaciones y desactivaciones. Cada vez que el deliberista llega tarde o con demora, sufrimos represalias por parte de estas aplicaciones, presionándonos a llevar más rápido la comida. Por ejemplo, anoche fui testigo de cómo un compañero sufrió un accidente que fue causado por un automóvil, sufriendo varias lesiones en el cuerpo. Existe la necesidad urgente de regular la venta de motos, ya que muchos deliberistas compran la moto y nadie les informa que tienen que tener una licencia, un seguro y una registración. Y aquí estamos hoy para encontrar lo más rápido las soluciones y juntos, ya que con ustedes son nuestros vecinos, son nuestros clientes y la seguridad siempre será nuestra prioridad. Gracias.
So, everybody translate. So, my name is Antonio Solís. I'm a deliberista and I'm part of Workers' Justice Project in Los Deliberistas Unidos. The crisis that our community is facing is infrastructure. Since the streets are not designed for designed for cars and not for workers nor for our families. The other crisis that we're dealing with is a labor rights crisis. Since it is more likely that a deliberista will die or get injured in our streets without any protections. Because every day, delivery companies are creating policies to force deliberistas and pressure them
to run faster and and make those deliveries on time. And drivers are incentivized to do this in order to avoid deactivations or losing their jobs.
Lie.
For example, last night I was witness that one of my colleagues suffered an accident that was caused by a car, and he got injured. We agree, there is an urgent need to regulate motor scooters, the sale of motor scooters at the point of sale. Since many of these stores do not inform that we need to get a license, insurance, registration. And we're here with you to find solutions as fast as possible so together we can resolve these issues. Since you are not only our neighbors, but you're also our clients, and our safety, your safety is our priority.
Thank you.
This is my last testimony. Thank you so much. Now we'll call up Andrew Ronan.
Thank you, Councilman.
So the idea is to design.
Good evening, and thank you all, elected officials, for being here and organizing this very important conversation.
You want to design the streets for mopeds.
It is indeed insulting and embarrassing that the commissioner pulled out last minute. And I'm sorry that this didn't happen to you. Someone should apologize. Many of you know me. My name is Andrew Ronan. I'm a lifelong resident of Jackson Heights, Queens.
This is corruption, guys.
For the better part of the past 15 years, I've been the progenitor of public spaces in Jackson Heights, from the 78th Street Plaza, the Travis Park expansion, Diversity Plaza, and yes, I was there on day one of the 34th Avenue Open Street. 34th Avenue Open Street is suffering from an identity crisis. It does not know what it wants to be. It is a product of thoughtless design, better suited for Mario Kart than it is for a public space. It is a wide, open, light boulevard and a moped superhighway running through a residential neighborhood lined with 6 schools, 3 churches,
You're kidding, right?
several naturally occurring retirement communities, and many more places that house the most vulnerable populations that need the most protection when it comes to public space design. An elderly person, a young child, doesn't have the speed it takes to dive out of the way of mopeds that come every 2 minutes. 7 mopeds pass me on my walk here in 15 minutes. That's 30 mopeds an hour in one direction. What, 30 seconds? Long story short, you've seen the idea of a capital sign that's going to solve everything. I can tell you from experience, it will not. Everyone here remembers 78th Street Plaza? Everyone remembers how the agency promised to build it out in Capitol fully to North Boulevard, and it would be open space, safe for everybody. Did that happen? It did not, and it is not safe and open. It is not just mopeds on 34th Avenue. They're in all our public spaces. Just on your way back tonight, take a look. Walk along 78th Street Plaza and see the tire treads. Or see the Sprinter van that nearly hit me in Diversity Plaza the other day. The thoughtless design needs to stop. The capital design really needs to stop, or someone else who understands what they're doing needs to do it.
This is the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Unfortunately, we do have to end. Our time is up at the school, and I want to respect the staff that's here too. I know there are those who still wanting to testify. So
wow, what a
I
dick.
appreciate it. But so this is the accountable for Jackson Heights residents too. So
Wow, he gave all the time to his crony. That's right.
June 22nd, 1 p.m. in front of Jackson Heights Post Office. I will be holding a march against all the lawlessness and the issues happening in our area that are being caused by Councilman Shekhar, by the blindness and the mindless leaders that we have here pushing us forward. Join me on June 22nd, 1 p.m. in front of Jackson Heights Post Office. Walk against prostitution. All this
This makes a lot of sense now. This makes a whole lot of sense now.
Because we are not.
Makes a whole lot of sense.
You are a loser. You are a loser.
You forgot one E. You forgot one E, Shekar, ethics. Because this is highly unethical. This one, you know what you did, Shekar, in the last 2 hours? You proved that the open streets are dangerous. You proved it. That was a testimony that showed how dangerous the open streets are.
I call each and one of you out every single day. Braga, Cruz.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much for joining.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Everyone that should be doing the right thing. I know you hear me. Regardless of what they do or what they say, they are not the ones representing you correctly. They are against everything that we hold true and dear. Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, Corona are going under, all because of the representation or the lack of representation provided by these people. Open your eyes, open your ears, and pay attention. Things need to change immediately. Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
What's sick is that even the cops are down with this. The cops don't want to stop them. The cops don't want to stop the moped, the so-called moped crisis either. It's disgusting.
And if people on mopeds do not follow traffic laws, they should be arrested.
Yeah, that's the thing. The cops don't want to arrest them. They want to arrest CLJ. They want to arrest CLJ for freaking calling them out. This was a farce. This was a farce, man. You're disgusting. Your boss is disgusting.
We have prostitution running rampant all over our neighborhood. You know that. It's not about open streets. No, we're not. This is as real as it gets.
You guys fucked up.
There's no quit in New York. There's no quit in us.
This show. It's a freaking minority. This just proves it's just a minority for us. I don't know why you're filming him. No, but he's absolutely right, this stuff. He's absolutely right. All right, the gang's all here. Why don't you ride real bikes, guys? Why don't you ride real bikes? You talk about safety? Ride real bikes. Yeah, that's right. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. I saw you guys. You didn't have license plates in your mopeds. You were those guys they were complaining about. You're those guys they were complaining about. You guys are the moped crisis. You're the moped crisis. I saw you guys on 34th Avenue too. And apparently, you got it, lady. And apparently, the Department of Transportation has more power than the NYPD.
If they taking me to Long Island, they can stay. If they're not taking me to Long Island,
and tell those officials that too, man. You should have kicked them out first. Yeah, kick this guy out first. Take his microphone away too. Dude, you're compromised, man. You're compromised. You sellout, man. Bunch of sellouts. Wow, that was disgusting. Big friggin' Paseo Park infomercial. God, nothing about mopeds at all. Nothing about mopeds because they ride them. Because they ride those freaking things. That's the moped crisis. Those guys, they created it. They created a moped crisis. Thanks a lot. I wish I lived in the district to vote. I'm a delivery guy. I'm a delivery guy like they are. I ride a real bicycle. All that stuff they talk about being pressured by app companies is a lie. Hey, if you guys have so much pressure to deliver, why do you need it? How do you guys still have pressure to make deliveries when you ride e-bikes going 30 miles an hour? When you ride motorcycles going 30 miles an hour? How come you still feel pressure? Don't you make your deliveries on time? Don't your deliveristas make your deliveries on time? How do you still have trouble making deliveries on time? You have e-bikes. How do you have trouble making deliveries on time? Don't you go 30 miles an hour? You guys go 30 miles an hour. How do you miss deliveries? How come you're so slow?